Hi, today I'm going to be making for you a recipe called Tubani, but the Tubani is going to be going with a tomato stew. So I'll first of all start off by making the tomato stew. For this stew you need 1 cup of fresh tomato blended, 1/4 cup of cut up red onion, and I just discovered this in Costco, avocado oil. I've never used it, so I'm going to try it today with this recipe, and I'll be using 1/4 cup of this to make the stew. This is a quick stew to make, but traditionally you don't even need to eat this with a stew. You just need some hot oil and then pepper and salt in the oil, so that after you finish making the Tubani, you sprinkle this mixture of hot oil and pepper and salt over the Tubani. But if you want to get fancy, as I'm about to do, you make the stew. So I'm going to be pouring in all the onion and the heated up oil here, and I'll stir it around for a minute. After a minute, you add in your tomatoes. I'm using fresh tomato, but feel free to use any canned tomato, tomato sauce paste. Now stir this. You can season with any salt. You can either use seasoning salt or use Himalayan salt, which I've been using of lately. So I'm going to use the Himalayan salt. So into this stew, I'm adding 1/2 teaspoon of the Himalayan salt, and I'll stir this around. It's a hot stew, so what I'll add to make it hot is any powdered cayenne pepper, you can use habanero pepper if you can withstand the heat. So I'm going to be sprinkling some in here. We like it hot, so a lot of it, but please reduce the amount if you know you can take the heat. At this stage, you will taste to make sure your salt and everything is okay. Okay, that's about right. So now I'm going to be lowering the heat for this stew to let it continue to simmer. So I'm going to put it on 2 and then start the mixture for the Tubani. If you watch my kose or bean fritters video, you are about done with making the Tubani. I'm going to follow almost the same instructions. The mixture is going to be the same, except that instead of frying, you steam this. But traditionally, we steam it in a special leaf, which I can't find here. So in place of the special leaf, I'm going to use colored green leaves. Or if you have grape leaves, that should work perfectly fine. So in this bowl, I have 1.5 cups of black eyed beans or peas flour. I have 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 3/4 teaspoon of Himalayan salt. Any salt is fine. And I'm starting off with 1.5 cups of water. I would first mix all these together and blend with the hand mixer here. Not in any particular order. You can do it any order you want, and it should be fine. And using the hand mixer, I'll blend this up. You blend this until a little piece of this floats in water. So I'm going to be dropping a little bit of this in a cup of water, and as you can see, it begins to float, just like in the kose recipe. So that means that it's time for me to start wrapping up my Tubanis. The thickness of this is perfectly fine for me, but some people will prefer it a little lighter. So if you want it a little lighter, you can add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of water. Okay, traditionally we use a special leaf, but it's not here. But that leaf, when you use it, you don't eat the leaf. You just put in the mixture that I've made and then wrap it up and steam it. So I have some water boiling in a pan, but using a steamer will be perfect. I do not have a steamer. So make sure you buy colored greens that have huge leaves. So I'm going to run this down this way. And I'm actually going to make use of all the stem. It's going to be a base in my pot. So you continue doing this. Then when you're done, you wrap the bean mixture in it and steam it. I hope this doesn't give me a problem using the colored green leaves. But all you need to do is to fetch a little bit of this, put in the leaf, and try to wrap it up nicely so that there are no leaks. And you can just steam it like that. But because I'm going to be wrapping a number of them, I've just used a toothpick to hold it in place. Then you take another colored green leaf. So if you can improvise any method that works conveniently for you, that should be fine. This one I've twisted it a little bit. Flap this over. Hopefully it doesn't come up. Oh, there you go, it's coming up. Try to pin it with the toothpick. Okay, I feel this one has some coming out, so all I need to do is to take an extra little leaf and wrap it all up. Remember, you're going to be eating this together with the leaf, so nothing is going to be wasted. This is a huge leaf, so if you have a huge leaf, you can add a little bit more. There you go. Keep on doing this till you're done. Then when I'm done wrapping them, I will show you how to steam it up. Using a steamer like the tamale steamer will be perfect. Tamales steamer will be perfect. You can take your leaf, twist it around like a little hat here. If this way is hard, it looks like this way is much easier to handle. Then you put in a little bit of the bean flour mixture here and try to wrap it around and pin it with a toothpick. Don't worry when a little bit overflows when you put it in the steamer. It's gonna cook okay. So I take one again, make a little hat, but try to do it any way that you are comfortable with. Add my mixture and then clip it with the toothpick here. If you feel you have an issue using half of the colored green leaf, you can use a whole leaf and just try to wrap it up as nicely and as possible so that the mixture doesn't come out, but any little mixture coming up in the steamer would be perfectly fine. The stew is cooked, so I'm going to take it off fire. But this stew, even though I'm using it for the Tubani, it can go with any meal. It can go with potatoes, it can go with rice and beans, it can go with plain rice, name it. It's a very nice and easy tomato stew. So I'll put this aside and steam up the Tubanis. Okay, if you are using a steamer, you will not have issues with water. But because I'm using, I'm not using a steamer, I have a big pot here. But in it, I just have about 3.5 cups of water that I brought to a boil. So to create a situation like a steamer, I'm going to be using the stalks of the colored green and place it at the bottom. so that the Tubanis don't just rest at the bottom of the pan. But if you have a steamer, you have no issue. Okay, so what I'll do now is to layer my wrapped up bean mixture in the saucepan here. So I'll continue doing this till it's done. Then I'll cover the saucepan and then let it continue to cook until they're cooked. And as I indicated, use a full leaf if you are having issues wrapping the things with the half leaf. So I'll cover this and bring it to a boil. This has been boiling for about 25 minutes and I think it should be ready. So I'm going to be turning off the heat here. There's a lot of steam here, and I'll take it out and then place in a plate. So it depends on how big your Tubanis are. It might need a much longer time to steam. There you have the finished product, Tubani, made with colored green leaves. I've just cut one open to show you how the inside will look like. And then you have the tomato stew that I made that would be going perfectly well with the Tubani. Remember to remove all the toothpicks, and this can be eaten together with the colored greens. So that's the additional benefit of using the colored greens in making the Tubani. You can eat it together with the stew. For those who cannot get the black-eyed pea flour to make the Tubani, you can soak about half cup of black-eyed beans in water for about 2 hours. Add some water. I would say start off with about half cup of water in the soaked beans and then blend it. And since you are using just half cup, you would need about 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and you equally reduce the salt. And then you beat it up and try to follow the directions and let me know how it will turn out for you. It will hopefully be perfectly great. For the kose, it's harder to do, so I would develop a recipe for the kose for you. But for the Tubani, if you are interested in making, soak half cup of black-eyed beans in water for about 2 hours, blend it with about half cup of water, add your salt and 1/4 teaspoon of the baking soda, and then wrap it up in the colored green leaves and then try it out with a stew. So hope you come back for more recipes from my channel. Thank you.